The world around you is a symphony of chaos, a relentless assault on your inner peace. Every day, forces conspire to erode your resolve, to pull you off your center, to whisper doubts into the quiet corners of your mind. Most people wander through life as mental prisoners, reacting to every external stimulus, tossed about by every emotional wave. They are utterly, devastatingly touchable. But what if there were a different path? What if you could forge an inner fortress, a state of mind so unyielding, so profoundly centered, that no external storm could ever truly shake you? This isn't about ignoring the world, it's about mastering your response to it. It's about cultivating an inner strength so formidable, you become mentally untouchable. Stay with me until the very end, because the final, most ruthless lesson is the one 99% will miss. And without it, you'll remain forever bound by the fleeting whims of the external world. This is not about comfort, it is about profound, unshakable liberation. That was inner stillness. The first ruthless lesson you must internalize, truly absorb into the marrow of your being, is the cultivation of inner stillness. Most people understand stillness as the absence of movement or the cessation of sound. They seek it in quiet rooms or through forced meditation, only to find their minds still racing, a furious torrent of thoughts and anxieties. This is not true stillness. True stillness is not external. It is an internal state, a profound quietude that can exist even amidst the loudest storm, the most chaotic environment. It is the eye of the hurricane within you. Think of your mind as a vast ancient lake. The surface is constantly disturbed by the winds of external events, by the pebbles of fleeting thoughts, by the ripples of emotion. Most people live entirely on the surface, identifying with every disturbance, every wave, believing that they are the ripples. They become the anger, the fear, the craving, the worry. But the ruthless truth is that beneath the surface, the lake remains deep, calm, and undisturbed. Your essence, your true nature, is that tranquil depth. Cultivating inner stillness begins with radical observation. You must become a silent witness to the incessant chatter of your own mind. Do not judge the thoughts that arise. Do not engage with them. Do not try to stop them. Simply observe them as passing clouds in the vast sky of your awareness. This is a practice of profound detachment. When a thought of worry arises, what if I fail? You don't chase it down the rabbit hole of hypotheticals. You simply note its presence. Ah, a thought of worry has appeared. When a feeling of anger surfaces, perhaps someone cut you off in traffic, you don't immediately react with road rage. You acknowledge the sensation, here is anger, I feel its heat. This gentle, persistent observation creates a vital space between you and your internal experiences. In that space, true stillness can begin to blossom. It is in this gap, this subtle pause, that your power resides. Without this space, you are merely a slave to your impulses, a puppet to your emotions. The modern world is a master of distraction, an architect of noise. Our phones buzz, screens flicker, notifications clamor for our attention. Every moment is an invitation to react, to consume, to engage with the external. This constant engagement feeds the surface agitation of your mind, preventing you from ever touching the calm depths beneath. To become mentally untouchable, you must ruthlessly guard your inner sanctuary. This means consciously choosing moments of silence, not just external silence, but internal silence. It means stepping away from the digital torrent, even for brief periods, and allowing your awareness to simply be. It means resisting the urge to fill every void with noise, every pause with distraction. The discomfort you might initially feel in this silence is merely the surface agitation settling. Embrace it. This is not about becoming a monk in a mountain cave. It's about integrating moments of profound presence into your daily life. A few minutes of quiet observation before your day begins. A mindful pause between tasks. A moment of breath awareness before sleep. These are not luxuries. They are fundamental building blocks of an unshakable mind. When you truly connect with your inner stillness, you discover an anchor that holds you firm, regardless of how turbulent the external seas may become. This anchor is your true, untouched self. It is from this place that all clarity, all wisdom, All genuine power emanates. Without it, you are adrift. That team, embrace discomfort. The second ruthless lesson is perhaps the most counterintuitive in a world obsessed with comfort. You must actively, consciously, and relentlessly embrace discomfort. Most people spend their entire lives constructing elaborate fortresses of ease, shielding themselves from anything that feels challenging, unpleasant, or painful. They seek the path of least resistance, the softest cushion, the quickest fix. They believe comfort is happiness, and discomfort is something to be avoided at all costs. This is a profound and crippling delusion. The ruthless truth is that comfort is the enemy of growth. It is a warm, soft cage that keeps you trapped, weak, and ultimately vulnerable. Every single step towards mental untouchability requires you to willingly step into the very sensations and situations you instinctively recoil from. Your mind, left unchecked, will always gravitate towards the familiar, the safe, the easy. To become strong, you must defy this instinct. Think of the bodybuilder. They don't achieve strength by lifting weights they are comfortable with. They achieve it by pushing past the point of comfort, by embracing the burn, the struggle, the fatigue. Each micro tear in the muscle, followed by rest and recovery, leads to greater strength. Your mind operates on a similar principle. When you encounter a challenging emotion, fear, anxiety, frustration, your instinct is to distract yourself, to numb it, to run from it. But running from discomfort only amplifies its power over you. It creates a habit of avoidance that keeps you perpetually at the mercy of your internal states. To truly embrace discomfort means to turn towards it, to observe it without judgment, and to allow yourself to feel it fully. This doesn't mean wallowing in it. It means experiencing it with a detached curiosity, recognizing that it is simply a sensation, a temporary visitor. When you do this, you discover that the discomfort, while intense, is not actually life-threatening. It cannot harm your essence, and in that discovery, its power begins to wane. Practically, embracing discomfort means consciously choosing the harder path when it aligns with your growth. It means engaging in difficult conversations you've been avoiding. It means pursuing a challenging goal that stretches your capabilities. It means sitting with uncomfortable truths about yourself or your situation rather than burying them under layers of denial. It means tolerating the awkwardness of learning a new skill, the frustration of failure, the uncertainty of new beginnings. Take, for instance, the practice of cold exposure. Stepping into an ice-cold shower is profoundly uncomfortable. Your mind screams at you to stop, to seek warmth, to escape. But by deliberately staying in that discomfort, even for a minute, you train your mind to tolerate and even transcend internal resistance. You build mental resilience, proving to yourself that you are not merely a slave to your comfort-seeking instincts. This translates to other areas of your life. When faced with a difficult task, instead of procrastinating, you remember the cold shower and step into the discomfort. When a wave of anxiety hits, you remember the cold shower and you breathe through it. The relentless pursuit of comfort makes you soft, brittle, and incapable of navigating the inevitable storms of life. It makes you mentally touchable by every minor inconvenience, every slight deviation from your preferred state. By actively seeking and embracing discomfort, you build an internal reservoir of strength and resilience. You develop an unshakable confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way, not because you've eliminated pain, but because you've proven to yourself that you can face it head-on and emerge stronger. This is the bedrock of mental untouchability. The knowledge that you are tougher than any challenge, any uncomfortable feeling, any obstacle the world can throw at you. Your capacity for suffering, when embraced with awareness, becomes your greatest teacher, your most potent tool for liberation. But observe thoughts. The third ruthless lesson is about liberating yourself from the tyranny of your own mind. You must learn to observe your thoughts rather than identify with them. For most people, their thoughts are them. They believe every fleeting idea, every passing judgment, every emotional surge is an intrinsic part of their identity. If a negative thought arises, "I'm not good enough," they immediately internalize it, taking it as an absolute truth. If an emotional reaction flares, "I hate this person," they fuse with that feeling, letting it define their actions and shape their reality. This is a subtle but profound form of self-imprisonment. The ruthless truth is that your thoughts are not you. They are mental events, much like sounds are auditory events or sights are visual events. They arise, they exist for a time, and then they pass. To be mentally untouchable, you must cease to be entangled in this web of mental fabrication. Imagine your mind as a vast, open sky. Thoughts are like clouds drifting across it. Some are dark and stormy, others bright and fluffy. Some linger, others dissipate quickly. But the sky itself, your pure awareness, remains untouched by the nature of the clouds. It simply contains them. This is the essence of observation. When a thought appears, you don't engage with it. You don't argue with it. You don't chase it down. You simply note its presence. "Ah, there's a thought about my past mistake." Or, "Notice an impulse to worry about the future." This detached observation creates crucial distance. It allows you to see thoughts for what they are: temporary, often habitual, mental phenomena, not ultimate truths about who you are or what the world is. The moment you identify with the thought, you give it power. You breathe life into it, allowing it to dictate your mood, your actions, and your sense of self. This practice requires an unblinking honesty, a willingness to look directly at the content of your mind without flinching. It means recognizing that the constant internal narration, the judgmental voice, the anxious projections are just patterns. Many of these patterns were formed in childhood, reinforced by societal conditioning, or simply arise from the biological activity of the brain. They are not you. To become truly untouched by these mental machinations, you must develop a consistent practice of non-identification. This isn't about emptying your mind, an impossible task, but about changing your relationship with its contents. When a powerful emotion like anger or fear arises, instead of allowing it to hijack your system, you can practice saying internally, "I am observing anger," or "I am noticing fear." This subtle shift in language reinforces the separation between observer and observed. You are not angry, you are experiencing anger. You are not fearful, you are observing fear. This creates an immediate psychological buffer, a vital space for conscious response instead of automatic reaction. The ruthless reality is that your mind can be your greatest ally or your cruelest tormentor. If you allow it to run wild, to dictate your reality, you will forever be at its mercy, pushed and pulled by its whims. By cultivating the habit of observing your thoughts without identifying with them, you begin to dismantle the internal structures of suffering. You discover that much of what causes you pain is not external circumstance, but your interpretation of that circumstance, fueled by unquestioned thoughts. This radical detachment is not apathy. It is the highest form of self-mastery. It is the liberation from self-imposed mental chains. When you truly understand that you are the awareness observing the thoughts, not the thoughts themselves, you become truly, profoundly untouchable. The incessant internal chatter loses its grip, and a profound, quiet strength emerges. That's radical responsibility. The fourth ruthless lesson demands a level of honesty and self-accountability that most people actively resist. You must take radical responsibility for everything in your life, especially your inner experience. In a world that often encourages victimhood, blame, and external attribution, this lesson stands in stark, unyielding contrast. Most people readily point fingers. My boss caused my stress, my partner made me angry, my circumstances are why I can't achieve my goals. They operate under the illusion that their emotional states, their failures, and their limitations are primarily the fault of external forces or other people. This is a deeply disempowering mindset, one that guarantees you will forever remain mentally touchable. The ruthless truth is that while you cannot control external events, you are 100% responsible for your response to them, for the meaning you assign to them, and for the internal state you cultivate. Radical responsibility is not about blaming yourself for things outside your control. It is about recognizing that your perception, your interpretation, and your reaction are entirely within your domain. No one can make you feel anything without your consent, without your internal agreement to process an event in a particular way. For example, if someone insults you, they have merely uttered a string of sounds. Your feeling of hurt, anger, or offense arises from your interpretation of those sounds, your belief in their meaning, and your attachment to their opinion. This is not to say that insults aren't unpleasant, but the suffering they cause is a choice, however unconscious it may be. To become mentally untouchable, you must reclaim this power. You must cease to give others or circumstances the power to dictate your inner peace. This habit of radical responsibility requires constant vigilance. It means in every situation asking yourself, what is my contribution here? How am I choosing to perceive this? What is my response, and is it serving me? When faced with a setback, instead of lamenting, why me? You ask, what can I learn from this? How can I adapt? What action can I take now? This shifts your focus from powerless blame to empowering agency. It forces you to look inward, to examine your own internal programming, your beliefs, your biases, and your emotional habits. It dismantles the illusion that you are a passive recipient of life's events and reveals you as the active co-creator of your internal experience. This is not easy. Your ego will resist it fiercely. It prefers the comfort of blame, the simplicity of externalizing discomfort. But to truly grow, to truly become unshakable, you must ruthlessly confront this resistance. Consider a practical application, your daily routine. Most people feel overwhelmed by their commitments, blaming their job, their family, their lack of time. Radical responsibility means asking, how have I structured my day? What choices am I making with my time? Am I setting appropriate boundaries? Am I prioritizing effectively? It means acknowledging that your current situation is, to a large extent, the sum of your past choices and responses. And if you don't like it, the power to change it lies entirely within your hands, starting with your present choices and responses. This isn't about self-punishment, it's about liberation. When you fully grasp that your inner state is your responsibility, you gain unprecedented control. You are no longer a leaf in the wind, but the master of your own vessel, capable of navigating any storm. This profound realization is a cornerstone of mental untouchability, because it means that your peace, your joy, your resilience are no longer contingent on the unpredictable whims of the world, but on the unwavering strength of your own commitment to self-mastery. DuPont, shared expectations. The fifth ruthless lesson, perhaps the most liberating of all, is the complete and utter shedding of expectations. Most people live their lives burdened by an invisible yet crushing weight, the weight of their expectations. They expect life to be fair, people to be reasonable, their efforts to be rewarded, and their desired outcomes to materialize. When reality inevitably deviates from these preconceived notions, as it always does, they experience suffering, disappointment, anger, and disillusionment. Their mental fortitude crumbles because their inner peace is directly tied to an external world that rarely conforms to their demands. The ruthless truth is that expectations are premeditated resentments. They are blueprints for suffering, pre-designed disappointments waiting to happen. To become mentally untouchable, you must release your grip on how you believe things should be and embrace what is. This doesn't mean becoming passive or abandoning goals. It means approaching goals with an open hand rather than a clenched fist. You apply your best effort, you take purposeful action, but you detach your inner peace from the specific outcome. The effort is within your control. The outcome rarely is, at least not entirely. Think of a master craftsman. They pour their heart and skill into their work, meticulously shaping the material. But they also understand that the wood might split, the metal might crack, or the final product might not be received as they hoped. Their satisfaction comes from the quality of their effort, not solely from the result. Their inner state is not dependent on external validation or perfect execution, but on the integrity of their presence in the process. This is the mindset of true freedom. The habit of shedding expectations requires a deep understanding of impermanence and the uncontrollable nature of the external world. Life is a constant flow of change, a dance of cause and effect far too complex for our limited minds to fully predict or control. When you expect permanence, you are setting yourself up for pain when things inevitably shift. When you expect specific behavior from others, you are inviting frustration when they act according to their own complex internal worlds, which are beyond your influence. To practice shedding expectations, you must consciously challenge your shoulds. When you feel a pang of disappointment, ask yourself, what expectation did I just hold that was unmet? Identify it, acknowledge it, and then consciously release it. Say to yourself, this is how it is. My peace is not dependent on this being different. This is not resignation. It is a profound act of acceptance. Consider the anxiety that plagues so many people today. Much of it stems from projecting desired outcomes into the future and then fearing their non-materialization. I expect to get that promotion. What if I don't? I expect my loved ones to always be there. What if something happens? These expectations create a constant state of internal tension. By ruthlessly dismantling these mental constructions, by embracing the uncertainty of existence, you free up an enormous amount of mental energy. You reclaim your present moment from the grip of a hypothetical future. This means living with a profound sense of what is, rather than constantly striving for what should be. It allows you to respond to reality as it unfolds, with agility and wisdom, rather than reacting from a place of rigid disappointment. When you shed expectations, you remove the very levers by which the external world can manipulate your inner state. You become unburdened, light, and utterly untouchable by the fickle hand of fate. Your peace is then, and only then, truly your own. Zangar's master attention. The sixth ruthless lesson is perhaps the most fundamental power you possess, yet it is squandered by most people. You must master your attention. In an age of information overload, constant stimuli, and engineered distraction, the ability to direct and sustain your focus is a superpower. Most people are not in control of their attention. Their attention is controlled by whatever loud, shiny, or urgent thing screams for it the loudest. Their minds jump from one notification to the next, from one worry to another, from one social media feed to an endless scroll. They are mental nomads, drifting without direction, their inner world a chaotic reflection of the external world's incessant demands. The ruthless truth is that what you pay attention to grows. What you starve of attention shrinks. Your inner world, your emotional state, and ultimately your reality are shaped by where you choose to direct your precious, finite attention. Imagine your attention as a spotlight. Where you shine that light determines what becomes illuminated in your consciousness. If you constantly shine it on problems, worries, and perceived inadequacies, those things will loom large and consume your mental landscape. If you shine it on gratitude, opportunities, and constructive actions, those aspects of life will expand. The tragedy is that most people allow their spotlight to be hijacked by external forces, news cycles, advertising, other people's dramas, their own unexamined anxieties. They become reactive rather than proactive with their mental energy. To become mentally untouchable, you must reclaim this spotlight and wield it with surgical precision. This is not about being naive or ignoring problems. It's about choosing where your primary focus lies and for how long. The habit of mastering attention begins with conscious awareness of where your attention is at any given moment. Is it on your breath, on the task in front of you, on a conversation, or is it lost in a spiral of worry about the past or anxiety about the future? When you catch your attention drifting to unhelpful places, gently, without judgment, bring it back to where you intend it to be. This is the essence of mindfulness. It's not about achieving a constant state of Zen. It's about the repeated act of returning, of exercising that mental muscle. One powerful practice is single tasking, dedicating your full, undivided attention to one activity at a time, whether it's working on a project, eating a meal, or listening to someone speak. In a world that glorifies multitasking, single tasking is a revolutionary act of self-mastery. It trains your mind to focus deeply, to resist the urge for constant stimulation, and to find satisfaction in concentrated presence. Another critical aspect of attention mastery is curating your mental diet. Just as you are careful about what food you put into your body, you must be ruthlessly selective about what information, what conversations, and what influences you allow into your mind. If you constantly consume negativity, gossip, and fear-mongering, your attention will be drawn to those things, and your inner world will reflect them. To become unshakable, you must intentionally feed your mind with things that uplift, enlighten, and empower. This means actively seeking out wisdom, engaging in meaningful discourse, and surrounding yourself with positive influences, both digitally and physically. Your attention is your most valuable resource. It is the raw material of your experience. To squander it is to surrender your inner peace. To master it is to forge an impenetrable mental fortress. When you can choose, deliberately and consistently, where your attention rests, you gain an unparalleled power over your internal landscape, making you truly, profoundly untouchable by the mental chaos of the world. Your reality becomes what you choose to focus upon. Embrace polarity. The seventh ruthless lesson, the one most people desperately try to avoid, is the embrace of polarity. Life is not a monochromatic canvas. It is a tapestry woven from light and shadow, joy and sorrow, success and failure, birth and death. Most people desperately cling to one side of the spectrum, endlessly chasing pleasure and avoiding pain, yearning for constant happiness and dreading any form of suffering. They create a fragmented reality where anything perceived as negative is resisted, denied, or suppressed. This internal resistance to the full spectrum of existence is a profound source of mental fragility. The ruthless truth is that true strength, true mental untouchability, comes from understanding that polarity is inherent to existence. It is not something to be overcome, but to be integrated. The light gives meaning to the dark. The dark defines the light. Without one, the other